More from Tampa in a moment. Also, there's this developing now.
30 years. And never did I ever think that we would have some Russian spies here. So it was a big surprise.
I don't know him that much at all. I saw him a couple of times. She was more friendly.
When I talked to them, it sounded like they had a Russian accent. They had a young son and I think also a new baby. Cold War's over, you don't expect to hear Russians being arrested.
So have you heard about this story still developing at this hour? That's reactions from some folks in Massachusetts. Word that their neighbors are among 10 people arrested across the country accused of spying on America for Russian intelligence. 5 of the suspects in a courtroom sketch seen here. Russia angrily denouncing the arrest as a throwback to the Cold War. Meanwhile, we understand the Fed spent years working the case before moving in and rounding up the suspects. My guest now knows an awful lot about these operations. Eric O'Neill was the undercover FBI operative who helped capture the most notorious spy in U.S. history, Robert Hanssen. He's also the real-life hero portrayed in the movie Breach, what was said in Washington, D.C. and the thereabouts. Eric, good morning to you. Based on what we know, and frankly, we don't know a whole lot here, how serious is this?
Just from reading the indictment, it appears pretty serious. If these purported illegals were operating for as long as it appears they operated, they certainly were turning over some information.
What information were they after?
Well, from the indictment and from the conversations and transmissions that were intercepted and decrypted, it appears they're after policy information. But from some of the active profile of their espionage, it looks like they might be actively engaged in penetrating lobbying groups, government contractors to the United States and other groups, and even worse, possibly recruiting spies of their own.
You know, Eric, somebody said earlier today that this is information you can get by way of Google. Why would you need to be a spy? I mean, can you understand that point? And if so, take it a step further.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they were specially trained and sent here, if that is all true. And I trust the FBI investigation just to receive information you could find with Google. From what I can see from the operative profile, they were sent to recruit individuals who could provide information back to Russia. Policy, American policy being one of those things, but they were also after nuclear secrets and other things that could damage American interests across the world.
And that is intriguing, too. Here's what one of the Russian reactions was earlier today. Would you act like this in the 21st century? I mean, the Russians are just dismissing these charges. They say burying money in a yard for pickup is not the way it happens anymore. I mean, this is your line of work. Do the Russians have a point, or are they off the reservation here? And ultimately, does Moscow come back and engage in some sort of tit-for-tat?
I'm going to say they're a little bit off the reservation. They got their knee-jerk reaction while they decide what they're going to do about this. The tit-for-tat would be to pull some of our guys off the street that are working over in Russia clandestinely and maybe make an exchange. But we're going to need to wait and see how this case unfolds and find out just how Russia reacts once they get all their ducks in a row.
Eric, ultimately, how does this turn out? You've seen it before.
I think what's going to happen is this is the tip of the spear. I think next we're going to possibly see some Americans who are brought in for questioning and possibly arrested. There are some people out there who shouldn't have been talking to these illegals, and I think that we're going to find that the next part of this FBI investigation is going to go after the Americans who were spilling information to these potential and I believe illegal Russian spies.
You're a great guest, Eric. Thanks for making time with us on short notice.
Thank you so much.
Eric O'Neill, my guest out of Washington, D.C. You bet.